When Dr. Beatty broke the happy news to the Danderblond family that they were expecting twins, their lives changed immediately. They had spent 2 long years trying to get their family started, and now their hard work had paid off in the form of two healthy, beautiful baby girls. The second the Danderblonds left the gynecologist's office, they drove to the Upper Valley Mall and purchased every mother baby book they could get their hands on. What to expect when you're expecting. Dr. Spock's Baby and Child Care. Hell, they even brought the Rugrats tie-in Taming Your Toddler by fictional psychologist Werner Lipschitz. Sheila Danderblonde spent her every waking minute studying and consuming any knowledge about twins she could find. But it wasn't until Jim Danderblonde turned on the series premiere of Sister Sister that they would find the answer they didn't know they needed. Sister Sister premiered on April 1st, 1994 after months of advertising. Jim Danderblonde hadn't paid any attention to it until that day at the gynecologist's office, but when he turned on the TV that evening, he and his wife were absolutely rapt. The show was funny, the characters were smart, and the twins were well adjusted. Sister Sister had only aired one episode, but they had already gained at least 2 devoted fans, 4 if you counted the fetuses. It's crazy how much those girls turned out alike despite being separated for most of their lives, Sheila mentioned when the pilot ended.
You're right, hun. It's almost like they were destined to be the same person regardless of the separation,
Jim remarked. Like some sort of twin magic, Sheila joked while making ghostly motions with her hands. Over the next 6 months of Sheila's pregnancy, Sister Sister became must-watch TV for the Danderblonds. Every Friday night at 8 p.m., Sheila and Jim would make a habit of popping some Jiffy Pop and cuddling while watching their favorite twins navigate this thing we call life. Jim noticed that the girls' personalities were the opposite of the adopted parent that raised them. Tia was honest, smart, and respectful, while her mother was the comedic, zany fashion designer. And Tamara was raised by her hard-working, older, widowed father, but was the one who had all the attitude issues. As their obsession with the show grew, so too did Sheila's baby bump. By the 8th month of her pregnancy, Sheila was bedridden on doctor's orders. Jim reconfigured the entire bedroom just to get their TV in there. There was no way they were going to miss their beloved Sister Sister just because Sheila couldn't get herself to the living room. It was on one of those dark Friday nights in her 3rd trimester that they hatched their brilliant idea. When the credits rolled on the Season 1 finale of Sister Sister, Jim and Sheila sat silently contemplating their life. What would they do without their favorite show? How would they fill the newly opened 8 p.m. time slot on Friday night? How long do you think it'll be till they make more? Sheila asked sadly. Jim didn't know much about the show business, but he knew it would be a long time. Suddenly, Jim had an idea.
Say, we're about to have twins. So, what if we did a real-life sister-sister?
Jim asked. Sheila sat upright in bed immediately. A real-life sister-sister? She asked incredulously. Jim got up and paced the room in his boxers.
Think about it, babe. Twins. Separated at birth. Reunited when they're 13. It works so beautifully for the sister-sister cruise, so why wouldn't it work for us?
Jim said as this plan flowed through him with divine influence.
Heck, I think we could do it even better, because we're the biological parents, Sheila. Lisa and Ray are just phony adoptive parents. We're the real deal, baby,
Jim said as he pounced on the bed and spoke directly to Sheila's bursting stomach.
Hello, little Tia and Tamara,
Jim cooed. We're not calling them Tia and Tamara. Now that's where I draw the line, Sheila said firmly.
Wait, that's where you draw the line? Hang on. You're into this?
Jim asked excitedly. Sheila placed a hand on her stomach. How often do you get to create memories like this for your family? When do you get a chance to create something magical and really make it happen? Sheila smiled and reached for Jim's hand.
Let's do it.
They say life imitates art, but from Jim Danderblond's experience, it's a trying process to force your life to be the art completely. Shortly after Sheila Danderblonde gave birth to their 2 beautiful, healthy baby girls, Jim Danderblonde gave his wife a passionate kiss and vowed not to speak to her for the next 13 years. It's what would be required to give their daughters an authentic sister-sister experience. Jim had already taken the steps to pursue Ray Campbell's chosen career by starting his own limousine business. Sheila had quit her 9 to 5 secretary gig to dive into Lisa Landry's passion of fashion design. Everything appeared to be all set for a magical reunion when the girls turned 13. Over the years, Jim Danderblond found himself missing Sheila, but he knew that what they were doing was for the betterment of their future. He would often daydream of that wonderful day in 2007 when the girls would finally meet and he could kiss his wife once again. Tammy Danderblond grew up very irresponsibly, just like her faded TV counterpart Tamara. Jim was sure to orchestrate the exact scenarios necessary to develop his daughter's personality into that of 13-year-old Tamara Campbell of Sister Sister. He encouraged back-talking, he let her stay up late, never forced her to do her homework, and let her draw on the walls of her room. Tammy loved her dad, but deep down, she did not respect him because she saw him as a pushover, which was exactly what Jim Danderblond wanted. As Jim Danderblond counted down the days to their fateful reunion, pre-scheduled for September 11th, 2007, and reconfirmed with a late-night phone call after the 9/11, at the fashion boutique in downtown Detroit, he just felt that something truly magical was going to happen, and he just couldn't wait to see it.
Ugh, Dad, you know I'm not a fashion kind of person. Why are you making me go shopping?
Tammy Danderblond asked outside of the fashion boutique.
Because, Tammy, it's time you started dressing more respectably for your age, so people will take you seriously as a young woman,
he said as he opened the door for his daughter. Tammy Danderblond crossed her arms and begrudgingly went inside. Jim Danderblond had fantasized about this day for years, but now that it was truly and actually there, he wasn't sure how to contain himself. Should he stand by the door and wait for Sheila? Should he hide in the dressing rooms and hope to overhear the orchestrated reunion? Ooh, the anticipation was killing him.
Really, Dad?
Tammy said as she held up the ugliest grandma sweater ever seen.
Oh, come on. Look in the right section, at least,
Jim said in his best sitcom dad voice. Jim settled on men's trousers as his station for the reunion and slowly headed that way, pretending to look at the garments on display. Just as he found a nice pair of slacks, he heard the ding-a-ling of the shop's front door and snapped to attention. There, walking in the door, was his beautiful wife, Sheila Danderblond, looking stunning as ever. It took everything in him not to walk up to her and embrace her immediately. She looked absolutely gorgeous. Jim was blown away by the level of detail in her clothing and the brave choice she had made by wearing a royal gown out in public. But hey, what did Jim know about fashion? He was just a limousine driver, he thought to himself and chuckled. Jim noticed Tammy across the store in the teens section and looked back to the door. There she was, Mia Danderblond, Jim's daughter, whom he hadn't seen since her birth. Wow. Jim was stunned to silence. She was nose deep in a composition pad and writing furiously, and she too was wearing a ball gown in public. Well, this wasn't what Jim was expecting at all. He slowly walked across the store so as not to arouse suspicion. Mia was too busy writing in her damn notebook to even notice her literal twin sister standing just one row away from her, and Tammy was so bored to tears she didn't even notice either. Jim saddled up next to Sheila and tried to break the ice.
I love your dress,
he said. Sheila turned to him and briefly smiled, but there was anxiety in her eyes. Had she not been fantasizing about this day too? Thank you, kind sir, she said with a bow. She extended her hand. Miranda, she said. Jim, confused, stared back at her. What the hell was going on?
Miranda. I'm Jim. Jim Danderblond. Nice to meet you.
Jim played along. Jim, lovely. This is my daughter, Artemis.
Artemis?
Jim said, accidentally dropping character. Mia/Artemis stopped writing her notes, and Tammy stopped looking through the teen clothing. Yes, Artemis Fielding, Sheila said with a nervous smile. Artemis reached out and shook Jim's hand.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Danderblond,
she said graciously. By now, Tammy had slowly saddled up to the conversation.
What's going on, Dad?
Tammy asked quietly.
Can we talk outside?
Jim grabbed Sheila by the arm and walked her outside forcefully.
What do you mean you decided to do Twitches after seeing the movie in 2005? We agreed on Sister Sister! You didn't think to call me?
Jim screamed at his wife in front of the fashion boutique. Jim, we said no contact. If this was ever gonna work, Sheila started.
So Artemis thinks she's going to save the magical world of Coventry,
Jim ranted. So you did see it.
Of course I saw it. It was fucking brilliant. But I didn't change 11 years of planning over one goddamn brilliant movie.
Jim screamed. Jim, look, I know you're upset. It's just, we did this to create a magical experience for our children, and what's more magical than magic? Sheila tried desperately to convince Jim that this was still okay.
Sheila, this doesn't even make sense. The dad is dead in Twitches.
Jim yelled.
Are you gonna kill me to make this work?
Hey, can you, not yell at my mom, please?
Artemis had come outside and joined the conversation.
Artemis, I'm sorry, your mom just surprised me with her royalty,
Jim said as he bowed to Sheila.
Dad, who the fuck are these people?
Tammy interjected. Watch your mouth, young lady, Sheila responded out of instinct. Jim glared at her.
Well, I guess if I'm not Ray Campbell, then I'm fucking Calabar, bitch,
Jim said as he began to relay the truth to the girls.
You see, Tammy, Artemis,
Before he could finish, Artemis chanted magically and cast a spell that vanquished Jim Danderblond from existence.
Oh, Artemis! Oh, God! Oh, what have you done?
Sheila Danderblond screamed out.
What is it, Mom? For the last 2 years, you've done nothing but warn me to be afraid of Calabar. He just told me he's Calabar, and without thinking, I killed him.
Artemis said, confused.
What is going on?
Tammy Danderblond screamed at the top of her lungs. Artemis and Sheila looked at each other lovingly, exchanged a nod, and then told Tammy Danderblond everything. The party music was bumping, and everybody could tell where the party was from a mile away. Folks were lined up around the block to celebrate with Artemis and Apollo. It was wild to everyone that knew either one of them to find out that they had been birthed in a magical world called Coventry and separated for their own safety. Apollo was shocked to learn that she had been kidnapped by a dark and evil man named Calabar, brainwashed into living life as a normal person named Tammy, all so that Calabar could enact his revenge and rule over Coventry. That night, when Artemis and Miranda saved Apollo knew she had finally found home. She immediately accepted the warmth and love from her mother Miranda, and she felt her own magical power growing within her as she was embraced by her real family. Her mom never could get them to Coventry, which was a little weird, but Artemis Fielding had done magic, so maybe there was something to be said about twin powers after all. As the party got jumping, Sheila Danderblond snuck away to her bedroom and opened a secret compartment inside her dresser. Inside, she had hidden the birth records of her daughters and the secret photos Jim had sent her of Tammy throughout the years. As the children downstairs screamed along to the lyrics of Daniel Powder's Bad Day, Sheila Danderblond lit the fireplace in her bedroom and tossed all of the evidence into the fire. End.
You people don't do anything.